Hey everyone, my name's Alex and I'm the New York City Field Organizer for the Humane League. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a whole foods plant-based breakfast, lunch, and dinner using just a microwave, a hot plate, and a toaster oven. I just finished my whole food plant-based nutrition certification program recently, and I'm feeling so inspired to eat healthy because, as it turns out, it is easy, it is delicious, and I just needed to know how to do it. So I hope that you find this cooking demo fun and educational, and if you decide to cook any of these things for yourself, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Okay, come on in. So for breakfast, we are gonna make sweet potato savory toasts. So first step, I'm gonna take my sweet potato and I'm gonna get all my rage out on this thing by poking holes into it with a fork. This is just to get the process started, so. So we're gonna put the sweet potato in the microwave for about 3 minutes or so. We wanna give it enough time to soften so that we can cut it into like slices, but we don't wanna cook it all the way through so that it's mushy, because we want it to toast and crisp up, and that's gonna happen in the toaster oven in a little bit. So while that's microwaving, I'm sure you can hear it in the background, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what I learned from my nutrition certification, which was really cool. I learned a lot of common myths about eating plant-based, like the protein myth, like we need all this protein. Sure, we need protein just like any animal, but we don't need as much as we think, and in fact there is a lot of mounting evidence that eating too much protein can have a negative effect on your health. So one of the big ones that I always get from my non-vegan friends is like, but where do you get your protein? So I just wanted to show you a little bit about what we're about to eat and all the protein it has, so let's see. So I want to share this really awesome product line with you called Engine 2. They make a whole food plant-based packaged food line, and their hummus is amazing, and one of the reasons I really love it is because it's oil-free. And one of the things that I learned in my certification program is that you want to limit your fat intake. So whole food plant-based eating is all about low-fat, high complex carbohydrates, just the right amount of protein, and then everything else you're going to get naturally from plants, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a bit with my handy dandy app that I'm going to show you all. So this is what I'm going to use to sprinkle on top once these are all cooked up. You can use really any nut, cashews, almonds, you can use pine nuts, but this is what I had, so this is what I'm going with. And if you turn these over, I just want to show you how much protein they have. 9 grams in just 1 ounce. So that's pretty awesome. Really high in protein. And again, just the right amount of protein, not too much protein, which can have a negative effect. Okay, y'all, here's my sweet potato, my sweet hot potato. I'm gonna cut it now. So I'm gonna take my knife. I'm gonna cut off the edges. Also, it is really hot, so be careful. Dang, y'all. Okay, so you're gonna wanna cut into thin, like 1/4 inch slices, just like a piece of toast. Hence, ow, dang. Okay, I'm using a fork. I learned lessons the hard way. It's sort of my thing. So I'm gonna show you exactly what these look like once I finish cutting them. Sorry I don't have a better camera rig system so that you can watch me do it, but you know, what are you gonna do? We're gonna improvise. So here are your toasts, cut about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. Okay, so I just popped these bad boys into the toaster oven. See them heating up? You're gonna wanna keep them in there basically just for as long as it takes you to cook the rest of this meal. Or you can cook it longer if you want it crispier. You really can't mess this up, and that's kind of what I wanna stress here. So you do you, and I'll see you over at the saute pan. Okay, y'all, so this is what a hot plate looks like for those of you who don't know. It's awesome. The place that I'm quarantining doesn't have a full kitchen, so I'm just brought this from home because I don't know, I guess I thought that they might not have a stove and I was worried, and I was right. And I'm so glad because this little guy, which was like 30 bucks on Amazon, super saved my life the last couple months. So I'm really, really a big fan. So basically, I'm just gonna turn this on, probably like all the way for now just to get it going. Okay, you see the little light on? And I'm gonna start by sauteing my onions. So I'm gonna go over here, I have these pre-cut for you. This is 1/4 of a yellow onion. You're probably like, no oil, but how? And I totally feel you. So a non-stick pan is quite helpful. Some people don't like using non-stick because of the chemicals. So if that's the case, then I encourage you to just use some water or a little bit of vegetable broth so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. Now you hear them sizzling. I'm gonna add the garlic. That's about 1/8 of a teaspoon, or like, actually that's not true. That's like 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic. I'm gonna dump. Oh, I'll be right back. I need my other hand. Okay, cool. So you hear it sizzling. We're just gonna let that saute for about till it's translucent, till the onions are translucent. Cool, so now you can see they're kind of translucent, and we've got the garlic in there as well. Now you're going to put in the spinach. For those of you who don't know this about spinach, it disappears really fast. So while it will seem like a whole bag of spinach is too much, let it rain! It will shrink down really fast. In fact, I'm gonna prove it to you. One of the other awesome things about my friend spinach is that it's really high in both iron and vitamin C. So I'm gonna just let this cook up a little more, and then we're gonna start adding some more juices and flavors. Okay, so this cooked way down, as you can see. Now I'm gonna take my red vinegar, and I'm talking a dash, y'all, just like a, because that's probably even too much. Because then it's gonna just get too sour and soggy, and that's all you're gonna taste, okay? Next, we're gonna do a little pinch of salt. We're gonna take our paprika, and we're gonna do a little shake, shake, shake. Shake it like you're not supposed to shake a Polaroid picture. Then I'm gonna take this lemon pepper, or you can just use regular pepper, whatever. Remember, you're doing you. And then we're gonna mix it up. So these are my goldened to perfection sweet potato toasts. And you know, if you want them crispier, you can just cut them thinner. I like them to have a little bit of softness to them still, but that's totally up to you. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my hummus, and I'm gonna, ooh, yeah. Y'all, this is so hard to do one-handed. I am not even gonna lie to you. And then I'm gonna do that to all of them, okay? Voila. Now I'm going to take my ice cream scoop, because I'm the boss, and if I wanna use an ice cream scoop to grab my spinach, I can do that. So I'm gonna grab it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab and dump. Okay? And then I'm gonna kind of do that to all these guys. So to finish these off, I'm gonna take those pumpkin seeds. These are roasted, and I am going to just sprinkle them all over. Okay. Okay. And because I love hemp hearts, and they are full of protein, I always throw this on basically everything I eat. But that's totally optional. Again, This is yo breakfast. So, just gonna take a handful. They look like this if you've never seen them. They're kind of nutty flavored and they have so many nutrients. I'm gonna show you the back of the bag in a minute. And then I just do like, cool. So my friends, those are your sweet potato savory toasts. So these hemp seeds are super high in iron, which is really important and one of the things that is a little bit harder to get on a whole food plant-based diet. Not even remotely impossible, but just something to pay attention to. Full of protein, wow, wow. And then also, just 3 tablespoons. They are quite high in fat, but they're good fat. See, not too much saturated fat and no trans fat and 0 cholesterol. Heart healthy sprinklings for your yummies. So, this is my sweet potato boat. I just brought it to my fam upstairs and they were like, ooh, wow, what is this amazing deliciousness? So I got many thumbs up from my non-vegan family and I love this recipe because it's so easy, it's so healthful, and I'm getting my day off to a really good start. Okay, y'all, now let's tackle lunch. It's the middle of the day, you're busy, you don't have a lot of time. So this dish is a quinoa and like charred sauteed vegetable dish with garlic sauce that's kind of creamy. And if you are short on time, you can make actually all of this in advance, but if you want some of it to be a little fresher in the moment, you can cook your quinoa a couple days in advance and keep it in an airtight container in the fridge. You can eat it throughout the week. This is what I do. God bless Tupperware, am I right? And yeah, and then the veggies are really easy to throw together. Pro tip, I like to go grocery shopping on the weekends and sort of meal prep and get all of my veggies like chopped and diced and put in Tupperware. So when it's time to cook, it's just a lot of dump and mix. Makes my life super easy. But if you're a little more spontaneous or that just seems like a lot to you, no big deal. This recipe shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to make. Okay, so first things first, you're gonna take your 2 cups of water or veggie broth. I like to use a mix of both just for a little extra flavor. See, here you go. I have it portioned out for you. And then you are going to take your quinoa, which I also have portioned out. This is 1 cup, and you're gonna dump. I'm gonna give it a light stir just to get it all saturated. I'm gonna turn my saute machine on, and then I'm gonna put a lid on it. No, just kidding. I'm gonna wait for it to come to a little boil, and then once it's got a rapid boil going, I'm gonna lower the heat, and I'm gonna cook it for about like 12 to 15 minutes. But just like from like regular person to regular person, I'm an amateur cook. I love to cook. I think I'm not half bad at it, but these packages on rice that say like it takes 45 minutes to cook rice, it's never taken my rice 45 minutes. So I don't know if I'm just like magical or if you have the same issue, but in general, once it looks like most of the water's been absorbed, I recommend going ahead and doing a little taste test. Is it too crunchy? Is it nice and soft? It's your lunch. So just kind of check on it as you go. Right, so we've got like a light rapid boil happening, see? So I'm just gonna keep an eye on it, probably turn this down a little. Okay, so the quinoa's cooking and now I'm getting the vegetables prepped. So in this recipe, we're gonna be using red bell pepper, broccoli, and yellow squash. I'm just gonna give like a real quick PSA. I don't like yellow squash. That doesn't make me a bad vegan. And if you don't like broccoli, that doesn't make you a bad person. So if you have kids that don't like certain vegetables that you make them, that's totally cool. Just put another vegetable in the dish. It's usually pretty interchangeable, and I highly recommend not forcing foods on yourself that you just really don't like. Like for me, when I eat yellow squash, it ruins my mouth. Okay, cool. So now that we understand that, I am taking one for the team and I am going to make the yellow squash for you because you might like it. So here we have our red bell pepper, 1 red bell pepper, 2 cups of broccoli, and 1 evil squash. Just kidding. Okay, so next. Okay, so now you've chopped up your veggies and they're all set. We're gonna make the sauce. I just wanna point out some star players in this sauce. First are our cashews. This is what's gonna make the sauce nice and creamy. And in order to get your cashews prepared for blending, you're gonna soak half a cup in really hot water for a minimum of 15 minutes. This is gonna get the nuts super loosened up so that they're kind of soft and they blend really easily. You're also gonna need a fairly sophisticated blender. So a Vitamix is, ideal, but if you don't have a Vitamix, any kind of blender like a Bullet or something that's just like kind of high powered, not like your super crappy one from college that isn't really working anymore and makes that like burning smell when you turn it on. That's not going to cut it for this recipe. The other star player is dun 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 dun, Nooch. Maybe you've heard of it. Nutritional yeast is a kind of flaky dust that is really common in vegan cheese, homemade cheese recipes, and it gives this like creamy, nutty, cheesy kind of flavor. And what's so incredible about nutritional yeast is that it is full of vitamin B. So one of the nutrients that is very hard to get, actually impossible to get without eating animal protein, is vitamin B. But it's really easy to get in a supplement, and it's actually the only supplement that I take. So I eat Nooch almost every day, 1 because I love it and 2 because of the health benefits. And I also take this awesome vitamin B like dissolvable vitamin tab thing. So I'm going to show you that too. So friends, this is the vitamin B supplement that I take. It's the brand Diva. I don't know if that's how you say it, but anyway, that's how I say it. And it's got 100% of my B6, 4,000% of my B12, and 100% of my folic acid. Dissolves on my tongue, and it's the only supplement that I take. And every time I go to the doctor, they're like, wow, are you 8 years old? Because your blood work is amazing. And I'm like, no, I'm not 8. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Okay, now we're gonna make the sauce. So first, you're gonna take your 1 cup of soy milk and you are going to dump. Then you are gonna take your 4 cloves of minced garlic. Then you are going to take your Nooch or nutritional yeast. And that is actually what it looks like. See, it's kind of like a powder. Then you're gonna take your soaked cashews. See, they're kind of like, can't totally squish them, but they're like easier. Awesome. Then I'm just gonna take a tiny little bit of salt. I don't even usually measure it. And then a little bit of pepper if you want. You can even add a little other spice if you want as well. And then I take a lemon. Oh no, and I don't do that. Okay, yummy, awesome, fun. Now my hands are grimy. Anyway, you're gonna squeeze the whole lemon. Ugh. I tried to get all the seeds out first. And then you're gonna blend it up. And that's what it looks like after you blend it. It should be really thick. Well, it should be thick-ish, I guess I should say. So in a small bowl, I took about a 1/4 cup of the garlic mixture, the garlic sauce, and a 1/4 cup of water and mixed it together. And I'm gonna use that to cook all my veggies in my saute pan. If you have a grill, even better. You can like marinate all your veggies in this sauce that I separated from the main sauce, and then you can just put them on the grill and get them nice and charred. But I don't have a grill, I got a hot plate, so we're gonna saute these. Okay, so I've got them in the pan, and I'm just gonna pour this mixture over it. I'm gonna mix it up, and I'm gonna let it saute for about 10 minutes or so until everything gets kind of like nice and juiced up. And then the more charred you want them, the higher the heat and the longer you should cook them. I like to get them really grilled up good. For you who have never seen cooked quinoa before, it kind of looks like a bed of marshmallow pillows. There you go. See? The little kernels get puffed up with their juices and they become really soft and tender. Also full of protein and just like super good for you. Look, we have a visitor. Hi, Cider. Do you like vegan food? Sit if you like vegan food. So you can see the veggies are really getting tender, but they are not quite done yet. And it's been about 5 minutes. So we're just gonna keep letting them get thicker and browned. Now it's been about 8 minutes. Now it's been about 8 minutes. And you see how it is getting kind of stuck? Yeah, dude. Now you're going to take those veggies and you're going to place them on top of your bed of quinoa. And lastly, you're going to take the rest of that sauce, drizzle it all over. And that, my friends, is a delicious, nutritious lunch. Hey y'all, welcome to dinner time. Tonight, I'm gonna show you how to make a banh mi noodle bowl. And the base for this recipe, brown rice noodles. Bam! Who said whole food plant-based can't be delicious and filling and totally satisfying? Not me. Okay, so some of the other types of flavors you can expect from this bowl are gonna be some sweet and spicy, some maple syrup, some sriracha, and lots of colorful vegetables. So let's get started. All right, so the first step is we're gonna make our pickled veggies. So I've got a clean bowl for us. I'm gonna take half of a cucumber, cut into matchstick kind of shapes and sizes. And then along with that, I'm gonna put in the carrot that I also cut into matchstick shape. So 1 carrot and half a cucumber. Yes, I just dropped one on the floor, hoping the dog gets it. Okay, next I'm going to add my half a cup of rice vinegar. If you don't know what rice vinegar is, it looks like that. Then I'm gonna add my pure maple syrup. It's really important not to use like the table syrup that you see at IHOP, okay? That's garbage. That's not good for you. Okay, then we're gonna do, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. It's better if you can find the low sodium soy sauce, but I don't have that handy right now, so I'm just gonna use regular soy sauce. And we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of that. Great. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sriracha, but again, if you like wanna bring the heat, go for it. But also remember you can always add more. Cool. And then, then we're gonna do crushed red pepper, just a couple shakes. That's also gonna bring heat, so like chill, you know? You can always add more. And then I have 3 limes cut, and I'm gonna try not to drop them this time. But then I'm gonna squeeze them all up in this. And when I'm done, I'm gonna give it like a good toss so all the veggies get saturated. And then I'm gonna let that sit to the side so they kind of pickle, okay? So this is what your veggies should look like after you put all the sauce on them. You're gonna wanna toss it to combine and then let it sit for a little while it pickles. Right, Cider? So for snacking in between meals, this is a great opportunity to get some of your fruits and nuts that you need to have a wholly balanced diet. This is the fruit plate that I make. It has blueberries, which are full of antioxidants, dried mangoes, dried apricots, and raw cashews. You're gonna wanna make sure that your dried fruits don't have any sugar added to them, and when possible, to get unsalted raw nuts for the highest quality nutrients. So you're gonna wanna cook your noodles according to the instructions on the package because each brand is a little bit different. So these are asking me to bring some water to a boil, and then once the water's boiling, actually remove it from the heat, and then put the noodles in, stir every 1 to 2 minutes so they don't stick to the bottom, and you wanna do this for about 5 to 7 minutes. So these cook really quickly. So as you can see, the noodles get super tender just sitting in the hot water. Once it's cooked, you're just gonna wanna strain it and then set it to the side as you prepare the rest of the veggies. Okay, now that your noodles are cooked and set to the side, you're gonna cook your veggie situation. So we have half of a yellow onion diced. You're gonna plop that in the saute pan. And then you're gonna take your 4 cups of stemmed and chopped kale and you're gonna dump also into your saute pan. Okay, if you're using a non-stick pan, then you may be fine without any water or broth, but if you're not, you're definitely gonna need to add a couple of tablespoons of liquid so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. And this will take about a couple of minutes. So you'll probably notice that I haven't been cooking with much salt. If you have any blood pressure issues, it's gonna be important to replace salt with other natural spices like paprika or other kinds of seasoning. And there's a salt-free option called Mrs. Dash that I really like that I use. But I'm not too afraid of salt yet anyway. My blood pressure is good. So please feel empowered to add as much salt to any of the dishes that you've seen me cook today as you want. So this kale and onion mixture is just about done, and I added some salt while you weren't looking, and I'm going to head on to the next step. Next, I'm going to add about 10 ounces of frozen peas. And I'm going to add 1 package of drained, pressed, and cubed tofu. I'm not gonna get into how to do all that here, but there are so many YouTube videos out there, I highly recommend you check it out. But pressing the tofu is important because it gets all of the liquid out of it so that it absorbs more of the flavors that you want it to. So we're gonna dump that in as well. And we're gonna let this cook for a couple more minutes, but this is what it looks like so you know what to expect. Okay, so we have made all of the components of this meal. We made the noodles and we set them aside. We cooked the veggies and the tofu, and now they're sitting in the saute pan. And we've also pickled our vegetables. They've been marinating since the beginning of this process. And now it's time to bring everything together. So if you're just eating for one, you can make a small bowl of each of these things and pile on top of each other. Or you can assemble everything all at once if you're making a platter to serve your family. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like when it all comes together. All right, so we've got this beautiful platter with all the veggies and noodles, and now we are going to take our pickled veggies and we are going to dump all over. Now the last step for this meal was to take a big fork and a spoon and toss gently to combine so that the noodles are equally sauced. Well, that was super fun. Thanks so much for cooking with me, everyone. I hope that you enjoy some of these recipes when you get a chance to try them. I just wanted to let you all know that there are a couple of different ways that you can find inspiration out there. So please check all of the vegan YouTubers and bloggers and Instagram accounts and see what people are cooking up. There's sure to be something out there that's for you that you're going to get really excited by, and I definitely hope that you'll try it. For me, the easiest way to be consistent eating whole food plant-based was to sign up for the Forks Over Knives meal planner. So for about 15 bucks a month, I was able to customize how many meals a week I wanted to cook and have grocery lists prepared for me, and they just get emailed right to my inbox. So if you go check out Forks Over Knives, you can sign up if that helps you. But of course, as always, I want to recommend that you check out eatingveg.org, which is the Humane League's very own Veg Curious website. So go on over and take a peek. Thanks again. I hope you enjoyed.